Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's edition of Governance, Corruption, and Justice. I'm your hostess, senior journalist of Kaieteur News, Kiana Wilburg, and tonight we're placing the spotlight on the shipping industry. Joining us for this discussion is Ms. Lucille Monroe. She is the Assistant Manager and Export Coordinator at Kaieteur, one of the country's shipping giants, and she's been in the business for 15 years. Ms. Monroe, welcome to the program and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
Great. So we'll jump right into our segment this evening. Now, Ms. Monroe, you've been a part of the industry for a decade and a half. What are some of the changes you would have observed over the years?
Shipping-wise, I realized that over the years, in the past, we see a little shipping company, we assume it's little, have little regards for a shipping company and so forth. But with time, I've realized that the respect has grown. We understand that shipping now is a staple to our diet, basically, in Guyana. We need that for everything, for movement of everything now, and even so more so that we're in this oil sector. That is a necessity for us. And more so with the pandemic. Shipping has become one of the go-to things for everything that we need.
Okay. Now, your company, Kaieteur, can you tell our listeners a little bit about your company for those who may not be aware?
The company it's a family-owned business. It started about 25 years ago, owned by Mistress Ingrid Bristol and founded by her, as a matter of fact. One of the first female brokers in Guyana. And we grew basically, we were really, our initial stage was the barrel business. But over the years, we've become a member of the International Association of Movers. That is an organization for shipping companies who are responsible for moving diplomats and anybody around the world. That's where we get our checks and balances from. They ensure that we are professional, how we handle persons' personal effects and their valuables. So we are big into the moving sector now. We're a household name with that, known internationally, regionally, and locally for moving. We have even our competitors coming to us for moving. They may have a customer who wants to move, and we do packing and everything for that customer. So they would usually come to us. So that is one of our main points in the industry at this point. We still are into the barrel business. It has grown tremendously, but that is one of our big sellers right now.
Okay, now you mentioned the pandemic, which, no country has really been spared in the devastating effects of COVID-19. And I know during this season, lots of families are, putting together the goodies to pack into barrels and send home to their family. How would you say the pandemic has really changed the way shipping businesses operate, especially during this time?
I think this year has definitely been a learning experience for most in the shipping industry, because I don't think we were ready for what was happening. We couldn't be ready for COVID, but the volumes that started to move when we all got accustomed, we knew what we had to do. Persons are traveling less to come home to their families and loved ones, so they decided to just send more. I don't think anyone was prepared, even the shipping lines, the big lines that are owned internationally. I don't think they were prepared either for the volume. So because of that, there's a lot of strain on the international infrastructure when it comes to shipping. And we've seen that because although we welcome the business, it's a lot of more business for all the companies, but we see the pressure that it has put, the strain on the infrastructure, and that as a result we're experiencing some delays. I think across the board everyone is experiencing delays either in their air or sea shipment, the movements in that.
And that's due to the protocols that have to be followed for COVID-19.
That is correct. And some ports are much stricter than others, so it makes it a little more difficult.
Okay. Now I want to turn a little bit to technology. I know that online shipping has really upturned the game in terms of shipping and who gets preference and what's not. Tell us a little bit about how technology has impacted the dynamics of the sector's operations.
That is definitely a good question. I can tell you that I have seen firsthand everyone adjusting, or almost everyone adjusting to their new way of life, the new norm. So I think the only thing that we're not getting online now is we're not bringing in meat and vegetables. Everything else we're bringing, and
Yes.
that has multiplied indeed. It has been good because we have access to so much now. You know, with time as technology becomes more and more out there, and we have access to everything, that has grown that part of the services even more. We have I can't begin to tell you what it is, but I know that the postal service in the U.S., they're under some strain too. There's a lot of delays with their shipments, and it has a ripple effect. It's affecting us, how we get the received cargo, and how we get to forward it to our clients. Even to Amazon, they're getting a lot of. We reached out to them a couple of times in the U.S. because we find that our customers have a couple of complaints of cargo being undeliverable. We've put another system in place, but we've acknowledged that there are some issues with some of the big companies in the U.S. also. But definitely it has multiplied that's part of the service too.
Okay, now with the advent of technology and how it has upturned the game and forced stakeholders in the industry to up their game, basically, what would you say needs to be done to improve the level of governance now? Because what you find is that there are a lot of cybersecurity issues that come into play with this whole online shopping and getting these things done. How do you think we need to move in that direction?
Um, that's a tough one. Let me tell you. For that, I believe that in order to improve that aspect of it, I think we have the a body here that covers the local purchases, but we also have to give an extension to that and have another organization covering, but that will have to be something that's done internationally. That's why we encourage customers to ensure when they're purchasing online, they purchase from a reputable company so that they wouldn't fall victim to anything like cyber crimes and so on. We try to ensure that we insist that they purchase on reputable, but at the end of the day, everyone has to make their choice.
Now, let's just go back to the pandemic for a bit. Now, how has your company, Guy Will Ship, been able to navigate throughout all of these challenges that this pandemic is bringing? And in answering that too, how does the company plan to take it to the next level for 2021?
We've managed to quite fairly given the pandemic. We've put a station in place for our customers who are visiting the office. We ensure we observe the COVID guidelines. Our first inclination is to protect our first customers who are our members of staff, our team members, and by extension, ensure we protect our customers, our external customers. So with that said, that the pandemic has also brought out some weaknesses we saw where we could improve. So 2021, we have a lot of tweaks to do that we intend to address. This is our busy season, so we are on the go all the time. But come January, when we are able to sit back and reflect on what went wrong and what we could have done better, we are looking forward to that time so that we can continue to offer great service.
Great. Thank you very much, Ms. Monroe. We'll now take a short commercial break and we will return with our discussion this evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If you're now joining us, this is this week's edition of Governance, Corruption, and Justice. I'm your hostess, senior journalist of Kaieteur News, Kiana Wilburg, and we have with us this evening Miss Lucille Monroe. She is the assistant manager and export coordinator at Guy Will Ship. This company is one of the country's shipping giants, and Miss Monroe has been in the business for 15 years. So, Miss Monroe, we would have wrapped up the first session of our discussion this evening, which focused on how technology has played a part in changing the industry, how the pandemic has forced companies to adapt and the challenges that it's brought. But I want to look at the competitors that you might be faced with. In light of the pandemic, I'm sure you would have noticed that there are a lot of different companies popping up about the place. What do you believe sets Guy Will Ship apart in the shipping industry, and what advice would you offer to a company that's trying to get into the industry?
We have definitely seen a rise in our competitors, and we say competitors because we take them seriously. Everyone has invested some bit into their vision. What sets us apart, though, is the time and the years we have invested in our business, the service that we've extended to our customers, and what they've grown accustomed to. We are not just, we've moved away now from being just the regular barrel business, personal effects business. And we've partnered with many companies internationally. We have agents in the BVI, in the US, in different states in the US and in Canada. Like I said earlier, we are part of the governing body for movers around the world, the International Association of Movers. We've also been partnering with persons in Europe and so forth to have our services extended, and our name is out there. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what sets us apart. My advice to anyone getting into the business is just not to come today and around the Christmas season, because people tend to get involved for the Christmas. It's
only the peak period.
Yes, because there is where they believe they make all the money. But we are here to stay. That's what sets us apart, basically. We are here to stay. So if you're coming into the business, then we suggest you come ready ready to roll with everything, because it's not as easy as it looks. There's a lot of that goes on behind the scene that the customers aren't privy to, just to ensure that things are done.
Such as what, if you can elaborate on at least one of those things?
Particularly this time of the year, when the regular folks are just packing up and leaving at 5. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I drive around 5 to do something. Just leave the office for a couple of minutes, and I find that our competitors are closed. The doors are closed. We are there sometimes until 2 in the morning, ensuring we prep for the new day, so that when customers are there, we can give our focus to that customer, rather than we have other administrative work to do and we can't focus then. So we give our all during the day, and then in the afternoons and the evening times, we're able to wind down, then we have lunch most times, and then we get to prep for the new day, for the new set of customers that are coming to us. So we are there for the long haul.
Great. So I'd like to take your attention to one of the biggest challenges facing the shipping industry, and that's the security at the ports. And I know, being in the industry for over a decade and a half, you would have seen the news stories on various forms of corruption that's been able to creep into the industry. So given what you've observed, what is your take on, some of the things that's been happening, and what recommendation would you offer to close some of these gaps?
As little as it starts with every individual. I think we as a people, we have a perception that everything that comes, somebody else is looking at it. That's where it first starts. So even the customer may think that somebody's trying to get into my belongings or so forth. So it starts there, and then it escalates. What I know has been implemented recently, I think GNIC is the pilot wharf. They're putting scanners there, so to minimize the interaction and the interfacing with customers and their personal effects. So not everything will be opened, so no one has to say anything is missing. No one has to really see what's going on, so that you have longing eyes. So I think that is one of the that is a good road we're headed down. The implementation of scanners, unless it has to be opened, then we open it. Minimizes so many things on so many different levels.
Okay. Now, given what you've observed in terms of the damage that's been done, the fiscal damage that's been done by the pandemic on the sector, what's your view on the recovery of the industry for 2021?
I believe because there was a boom in shipping in whole, the 2021 will be seems like a good year ahead of us, because I think that the recovery for the shipping companies it's going to be easy for us, for the big lines and so forth, because there's already been a boom, and persons now they're more comfortable, they feel more secure sitting at home getting their stuff. So there's more need for the shipping industry. So as the demand increases, I think that we're on the right road to recovery.
Great, thank you. Now, I know that you have been one of the leading women in your company, and here at Kaieteur News, we always try to champion the roles that women play in the various aspects of our society. On this premise, I would like to ask you, what's your take on the role women can play in the shipping industry, and do you believe there's a need for more female representation in leadership positions?
Definitely. I remember many years ago when GRE used to be on Camp Street, and I had to go there. I was quite young, and much younger, I should say. And I remember going there, and it was dominated by male figures. But now when you interact, you see a lot of female brokers coming, doing the job. They're there. They make their presence felt. And like I said, my Mrs. Bristol, who is the CEO of the company in the U.S. and here, she is the first female broker in the country. So she has always been an inspiration for the women around her, and we can always look up to her because we know that her drive, and she also drives you. But again, there is need for women. I think some women have a relaxed they're in relaxed mode, and while some of us are pushy and want to get involved in everything. So why not? Let's all get this together.
Okay. So we've come down to the final few minutes of our program this evening, and I would like to close with asking Miss Monroe for her concluding thoughts on how she believes the pandemic and its preventative measures will now become the new normal, and to what extent it will impact business and customer relations.
That has definitely been has had a major impact on how we interact with our customers. But we also want to encourage our customers and let them understand that certain protocols are in place, not just to protect us as the person who's serving them, but it's also to protect them. I know persons become a little impatient, or they come every stop they make, they need to wash their hands or be tested, and they become a little impatient with that. But that is in place to ensure that we all are protected. So I know the wharves are adjusting to, especially this time, they have a lot of persons visiting them. So the process is even longer because it's less persons that they're interacting with at a time. So we ask for their patience. This is going to seem to be our new norm. We're not sure how long this is going to be for. So we just ask for our customers to understand and be patient whilst we all stay safe.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Ms. Monroe, for being part of tonight's discussion. It was a pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
We hope we can have you back in the future, hopefully in 2021.
Definitely.
To our faithful listeners and viewers on Facebook Live, we want to thank you very much for joining us this evening. This is going to be the last program for Guyana's Oil and You. Sorry, that's my other program for Governance, Corruption, and Justice. And there will be a final message for for Guyana's Oil and You on Thursday, so you can definitely look out for that. And also tomorrow, we have the Vice President, Dr. Bharat Jagdeo, who is finally going to be here for 7:30. And he will be sitting down with the publisher of Kaieteur News, Mr. Glenn Lau, myself, and another colleague of mine, senior journalist Kimal King, and we will be talking about the PPP's plans for the oil sector, what's been done, what's not been done, and a few more controversial topics. So be sure to look out for that. From all of us here on Kaieteur Radio, we thank you for following governance, corruption, and justice from the few months that it started a few months ago. And we hope that you can continue to join us for more insightful discussions into 2021 and beyond. Have a good night.